Hi everyone, I hope we're all well. This video is just an introduction to computing science at S3 here at Woodmill. What I'm going to do is introduce you to the members of staff in our department, and then I'll also go over what we're going to cover in the course throughout the year. So in terms of staff in the department, there's 3 of us. You will have met some of us before in various places throughout S1 to S2, but just to kind of recap who we all are. So we've got Mrs. Jeans. She's worked at Woodmill High School for 8 years. Her education background, so she has a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Stirling, and that's in computing science, maths and education. Her favourite colour is purple. She likes it so much that her whole classroom, even the carpet, is purple. Out and about, she can usually be found socialising with her friends over a cup of tea and cake, but to combat this, she also goes to the gym a lot. Other hobbies of Mrs. Jeans include reading, gaming and swimming. She has a pet called Levi Jeans. It's just the cutest little cat. She appears in Mrs. Jeans' lessons and on her Twitter page quite a lot. Mrs. Jeans calls her a cheeky little diva who's always up to mischief. Outside the classroom, Mrs. Jeans is involved in Parent Council. She also organises the S6 prom, and she's the leader of the computing science teachers in Fife. So she's really up to date with everything going on computing science related here in Fife. Mrs. Jeans' favourite place to be is a bay in the northwest of Scotland called Achmelvik Bay. I'd never heard of it until she showed me photos, and it looks lovely. She goes every year with her whole family, and it's very special to her. There's white beaches, long walks, and you get no phone signal at all, so you really cut off, which she really likes. The next person I'm going to introduce you to in the department is Mrs. Norman. Now, she's worked at Woodmill for 6 years. Her education background, she's got a Bachelor of Arts from Robert Gordon's University, a Bachelor of Science from Stirling University, and a PGCE in Education from the University of Edinburgh. So why did Mrs. Norman choose to work in Woodmill? So all 3 of her children went to Woodmill, and she was so impressed by the school that she begged for a transfer there too, so she moved from a different school so that she could teach at Woodmill. Out and about, you can usually find Mrs. Norman walking in the Fife Hills or at home with a ball of wool and some knitting in hand. She loves knitting and she loves hill walking. Mrs. Norman has 2 beautiful Birman cats called Holly and Artie, and they're brother and sister, so I think they came from the same litter. They love lying in the sun and sometimes even go on her caravanning holidays with her. Now, outside of the classroom, Mrs. Norman is really involved in the Duke of Edinburgh group in the school, and she's also co-founder of the Knitting and Crochet Club, which is called Woodmill Woolly Wonders. Mrs. Norman's favourite place to be is in Port Patrick, where she holidays in her tiny caravan surrounded by knitting every chance she gets. So Mrs. Norman loves cats, she loves knitting, and she loves computing. Finally then there's me, Mr. McMahon. So I've only worked at Woodmill for 1 year. I studied at the University of Dundee doing a degree in computing science, and then I went on straight away to do a PGCE in education. So my favourite colour is green. Now everyone thinks it's because I'm Irish, but it's actually not. I just really like the colour green. I like outdoors and nature stuff, so I think that's maybe where it comes from. Out and about, outside of the classroom, I love being at home. I've just bought a new house, so I like being in the kitchen, either cooking or cleaning. I'm kind of obsessed with cleaning. I don't know why, but I really do like it. My pet, I've got a guinea pig called Malbec. There's a photo of him in the top right there. But I buy him loads of stuff. I've bought him a run and toys, and he doesn't like it. He just sits and sleeps all day, doesn't do much. Outside of the classroom then, I went on an expedition with Duke of Edinburgh at school, and then I do work at the Outreach Centre as well. And before everything happened, I was also doing the Breakfast Club 1 day a week, so it'd be good to get back to that as well once we're back to normal. My favourite place to be, I didn't really have one. I quite like travelling in general, so I like to spend summer holidays and October holidays kind of visiting as many places as I can. I just like seeing new sights, meeting new people, experiencing different cultures. Yeah, that's it really. So in S3, when will you see us? So There's 3 50 to 55 minute periods per week with your same teacher. So on your timetable, you'll know who your dedicated computing science teacher is, and you'll see us 3 times a week. But whilst we're learning online, I'm going to be responsible for setting all of the work for you and issuing all of your feedback until we're back into school. If you then go on to do computing in S4, you jump up to 4 periods a week. Higher then, go back down to 3 periods a week. If you then choose to do advanced higher computing science, you're up to 6 periods a week. And then our games development and cybersecurity NPA courses are both 4 periods a week. So as you can see, there's loads of scope there to get really involved in computing science if it's a subject that you enjoy and you will enjoy doing further on. Now, why is computing science so important to take as a subject? Well, we kind of got together and decided that the skills that you learn during your time in computing science are some of the most important, okay, that you're going to use throughout your the rest of your school journey and into your careers. Okay, so computing science kind of built on problem solving, computational thinking, and resilience. Then, if you want to go into further education, whether it be college or university, having the skills associated with computing science are really sought after by universities and employers, even if you aren't going into a field in computing. Okay, you think of how many places you have to use a computer and have to use different systems just to get the job done. So that's why it's really important to learn these skills for further education. Also then, if we're just talking about in school, it's really useful for other subjects. So many of our pupils use the skills that they learn in computing science in other aspects of their learning. So it can be especially good for presenting your work in new and unique ways. So just learning how to create really interesting PowerPoints or making your own websites that you could showcase maybe your artwork or some science projects that you're doing. And so it gives you the skills to benefit more subjects that you're taking as well. And then finally, creativity. So people who learn computing science are the people who are building the technology and ideas of tomorrow. So it's really important that we get the foundation right and let our ideas flow through our work, whether that be just starting a scratch program or a basic game design or a website. Just being as creative as you can and then finally seeing your ideas come to life is really important. So in terms of what we'll cover throughout the course, as you can see here, there's quite a few units. So the first one we'll be starting is low-level operations, graphics and animation. And that's basically just getting us to understand how data is stored and represented in computer systems. And then when we move on to the graphics element of that course, you're able to create digital images, a bit like graphic design, and learn the basics of animation design. We'll then move on to security. So that's where we're going to learn about the importance of online safety and the risks and precautions regarding the security of our computing systems. Okay, so it's just what can we do to keep ourselves safe online, but also how do we protect our actual computers, even if they're not online. Building a computer then, so getting to know how to build a PC from scratch. Okay, instead of just buying a PC off the shelf, it's how do you buy every single little part and build it yourself. And we're going to understand the role of each part found inside and then how they communicate with each other to create a proper functional computer. We then move on to databases, so that's just getting to know how large sets of information are stored and manipulated in a computing system. Okay. HTML then, so we've done a bit of HTML in S2, but this is the next level. So we're learning the process of website design and development and how to implement many complex HTML features into your projects. So we're kind of just taking what we did in S2 and then building on that quite a bit. Okay, so by the end of this S3 HTML course, you'll be able to make really complex functional websites. We'll then move on to the environment. So that's just understanding the environmental impact of using computers and learn how to combat this. Okay, so whether it be reducing our carbon footprint or what we do with broken computers, how do we recycle them? We're going to learn all about that. We'll then move on to programming constructs, and that's basically where we learn the fundamentals of software design and development. So learning how to code from scratch. We'll be able to create functional programs that utilize common programming concepts. So there's loads of stuff in programming that we'll have to make use of, but this one unit covers everything, and then that's the basics for what you'll take into S4 and further if you decide to take on computing into higher and advanced higher. This is kind of the foundation unit, so it's a really good one to learn. And then finally we have Scratch animation programming. So I would say most of you have used Scratch before, but this is just building on our knowledge of Scratch and implementing a more extensive range of code to our animations that make for more complex, exciting Scratch projects. One thing I really want to stress though is all of these units have a homework and an assessment attached to them. Now the homework is just going to be a one-off homework, but the assessment can be a theory, so a written piece of work to assess your understanding. It could also be practical, so the likes of the website, I would want to assess how well you can create the website, but sometimes there are both. You can have one homework and then you'll also have a theory and practical assessment. They all come at the end of each unit, so we'll have learned all of the content and then we'll do the homework and assessment, and then the scores are all added up throughout the full year, and combined they then allow us to predict which level you're going to be working at in S4. Okay, so if you do really well in every single unit and you're passing all of the assessments and you're getting all of the homeworks in on time and correct, well done, you'll then be put forward for National 5. Whereas maybe if there's a few units that you're struggling with, or you're not really understanding just as much, it then gives us a clear idea of where your strengths and weaknesses lie, and we can work on that before moving into S4. So it's really important just to focus on all of the content, keep up to date with the notes that we're giving out, the tasks that we're setting, because this all plays a vital part in your progression through computing science to the end of your school career. Okay, so any questions on that, you can also just reach out and ask us about. If you need any more information about the units of work, we're certainly happy to help, but you will be seeing your first lesson be put up for low-level operations, and I'll explain everything that needs covered in that. Okay, so in terms of doing your work, because we find ourselves in quite a strange situation, working from home and not being in school, communication really is the key to us being able to set your work, but also assessing your understanding of the work given. Okay, so in terms of communicating with your teacher, okay, as I said, I'm going to be your teacher for all of S3 until we go back and resume a normal timetable. So on Show My Homework, I will be issuing you all of the work. So that'll be issued and submitted via the Show My Homework app, but it'll also be the main communication with your teacher. Okay, so if you need to ask me anything, you can just go on to the notification and add a comment, and then that, if it's any technical issue or if you're maybe not understanding the work, just add a comment and I'll reply quite quickly, and we can have a conversation through that way. Video demonstrations, so most of your lessons with detailed explanation or learning will be issued in video format, just kind of like this, what I'm doing now, and it'll maybe be a voiceover of a PowerPoint or a video of me doing the work, pardon me, and showing you. We will create those videos and then upload them to our YouTube page called Computing Science at WHS. Okay. The internet, so much of the work that you'll be doing will be computer or research based. So any device with internet access, even an Xbox, will help. Okay, so just tell us if you don't have any internet access, or if you're having issues with accessing the work or the notifications about the work, definitely just drop us an email, or as I say, go on to Show My Homework and add a comment, okay, and we'll do our best to help you there. Obviously, if you're doing loads of really good work at home, just like in school, we would want to be showing off that great work. So the way we're doing it whilst you're working from home is using Twitter and other social media sites. So whilst working from home, we still want to be able to showcase really good examples of work. I use my Twitter account, which is Mr. McMahon WHS, and I share that with other pupils, parents and teachers. Pardon me, just if you were doing some really good work on posters or a really good research task, I would quite like to be able to show everybody how we're doing. Not all of the work goes up there, but and I will always ask your permission before I post, but it's a really good way of just showing everybody what we're able to do. And then finally, pictures. So due to Show My Homework, the way you can upload an image or a picture as your submission, that's what we prefer, because it gives us a chance to have a quick look at your work, and you don't have to then worry about printing or scanning anything. Okay, so that's everything from us. As I say, any questions, just reach out, but look forward to teaching you some of the S3 course. Good luck.